Hello YouTube, Canadian Edge here, and time for a knife review. So this little guy, this is a CJRB Mini Pyrite, and it has a blade length of 2.2 inches, and open it is 5.3 inches, and closed it is 3.1 inches. And this is part of the CJRB Pyrite series. They have a variety of different pyrites that they have made, and I've enjoyed getting them. They're good knives. I've found them to be very reliable and very useful knives. So yes, I'm liking the Pyrite series, and this is the smallest member of the family. And it has the steel of AR RPM 9, which CJRB uses for a lot of their blades. And it is a Wharncliffe style blade, they call it. So weight on this, it is 1.87 ounces, nice and light. And the handle, it is aluminized. Aluminum, sorry. And it does have skeletonized liners embedded on the inside. So that's what makes it nice and light. The pocket clip on this, it is a reversible pocket clip, tip up, deep carry. And this little guy, you really don't notice him when he's in your pocket. It's nice and small. If you like small knives, this might be one to look at. It is a button lock, which I like the button lock. And you probably noticed it does have the thumb hole for opening. So you can flick it open with the thumb hole. You can flick it open with the thumb hole. I don't do a lot of opening with the thumb hole. You can also, of course, use now I can't do it, sorry. Button lock, there we go, to open and close. Oh gosh, man, I'm having a tough time all of a sudden. There, you can use the button lock to open and close it. My preferred method, I like the reverse flick, and now I can't even do that. There we go. Just having a whole tough time with this little guy today. But it is a good little knife, and I like the thumb hole. I find the reverse flick works very easy when I do it right. And yes, I find that to be one of the easier ways for me to open this. It does have jimping on the back, and gives you a little bit of purchase there. Also, we have a finger choil here, so you can get a little more grip on the knife, especially for fine jobs there. And it does have a lanyard hole as well. It's got the copper or brass spacer in there for the lanyard. So if you want to put a lanyard on, and that might not be a bad idea actually with this knife, just to give you a little more grip, because this is barely a 3-finger knife unless you're using the choil. And so a lanyard might be a good idea on a smaller knife like this. And it does have ceramic ball bearing pivot, and it's a very smooth pivot. So yes, like the ball bearings in there, makes it nice and smooth. It is centered, and there is no blade play, which is also a plus. You like that in your knives. It sits in there nice and solid and is not going anywhere. So it's not quite a drop closed. If I would, well, okay, it is because of the button lock. Yeah, take that back. It is drop closed, as you can see. So nice smooth pivot on that. I'm liking the pivot. All right, let's do a size comparison and see just how small this guy is. I should have had my my baby banter, but I didn't. grab that. So I do have the Ontario Rat 2. Ontario Knife Company, Rat 2, and I do have the Benchmade Bug Out. So you can see it's, yeah, it's quite a bit smaller. But it does make a good secondary knife, which is kind of the use that I have for it. And of course, if you get the bigger knives out there, the Sencut Saxi, Civivi Cogent, it's pretty much dwarfed. It's barely bigger than their handles. So yes, a little smaller knife, but it does the job, and it actually works quite well. This is a good knife for different jobs. Let's check the sharpness on it. So it comes nice and sharp, and that's always a plus. I haven't had any problems with the AR RPM 9. I've got a few CJRB knives and haven't had any issues with that steel. Oh, might have made that a little small. No, we're okay. So see how it does with the zip tie. Does fine with that. And I like the point on that because it allows you to get into areas. So if you did have to open a package with a zip tie or that holding it, it'll do that just fine. So, and it goes through the nylon cord quite well. So yeah, it's it's a small knife, but I found it to be fairly versatile. Works great for opening boxes and opening packages. Like I say, with the zip ties and the point, you can get into small confined areas. So things that I've needed a real point to get into, and that this has worked really well for it. So really like that part of it. As I say, it is a small knife. You don't really notice it that much when it's in your pocket. I like the aesthetics of it. I think it's a good looking knife. I like what they've done. I think the thumb hole gives it a nice aesthetic there. You can get different colors of aluminum handles, and I think they also have G10. I can't remember. But you can get different colors. I liked the green with the copper colored spacer. I thought it was a good look. Yeah, aesthetically it's a pleasing little guy to look at, and it's always nice that it works well as looks good. And the ergonomics on it, like I said, you don't have a lot of handle, where a lanyard would give you just that extra purchase. So maybe a lanyard on this would be a good idea. But what you do get, especially if you're choking up on the knife, you've got good control of the knife, especially in this grip here. So if you're opening a package or, cutting a box and that, it works well. This might be a knife, sometimes they put jimping on the end. This might be a knife where you could put the jimping on, and if you're doing a lot of box cutting in that, but also it works great for box cutting this way. I already mentioned that the pivot on this is very smooth. Liked how the pivot worked, and no issues there. Right out of the box, snaps open, and I did put pivot lubrication on just because I do with all my knives, just to make sure it's nice and smooth. And so pivot works great. In the pocket, nice, small. If you're a person with jeans, this would fit easily in the fifth pocket there, the upper pocket that seems to collect a lot of different little items. So it would work well there, and it's easy to put in any other pocket too, because it doesn't take up much room. Be great for somebody, in a backpack, in a purse, and a bug out bag just as a backup knife. You know, you probably wouldn't make that your main EDC. Depending on what you're doing with it. This would be a great office knife if you work in an office where you open packages and boxes and stuff like that. This would be a great option because it's not intimidating. Nobody's going to run screaming when you pull that out. At least most people won't. Because it's a nice, small, unintimidating knife. The fit and the finish on this is all very nice. Like the way it's all fit together. There's no sharp edges. They've done a good job with this. And here in Canada, these are like about $59 on average, $60 on average. You can find them in different sales and that, a little bit cheaper, but on average, that's about the price of them. So, one thing a couple things I didn't like about it. They don't make the pocket clip flush, which, yes, I know it's just slight wear and tear on your pocket, but it is wear and tear on the pocket. So I wish they would make those flush, but not the end of the world. And also, I do find this aluminum very slippery. So, yeah, if you aren't careful because of the size of this, you can easily drop this or lose your grip on it just because of the slipperiness. Where a lanyard, again, would be helpful just to give you that extra grip and purchase on the knife itself. But those two things are small things. If you're paying attention to what you're doing, the knife isn't going anywhere. It sits in your hand quite nicely. So yeah, not to worry about that. I haven't had any issues where it's slipped in that opening boxes or packages that I've used it on, and used it a few times. So yes, if you're working in an office, this might be something you take as an everyday carry. If you're working out in construction or something like that, it still might be a knife that you use as an everyday carry. I just prefer a little bigger knife, you know, towards the size of a bug out type thing for myself as an everyday carry. And this would be a secondary or backup knife, or in my bug out bag or things like that. So yeah, it's a little smaller knife, but it does big jobs. You can still do a lot with it. So don't let the size fool you. It'll work on bigger jobs as well. So that is the CJRB Mini Pyrite. Thank you for joining me on this review, and I will leave a link to that for Canadian stores in the description. You can find out more about that. And thank you for joining me on this. Check out some of my other videos with reviews and unboxings. Hit the like, hit subscribe, leave me a comment. Love hearing from you guys, and I will get back to you. And we'll do this all over again with another knife. But until then, you stay safe and stay sharp.